My name is Justine Bernhardt. I am 17 years old, and when I was in the fourth grade, about 9 years old, I found out I had dyslexia. Dyslexia has affected me by my test scores not being able to read very well and understand what I read. And I also mix things up in my own words in my own head, and where it doesn't make sense, and whenever I speak, it doesn't make sense. And people always look at me like I'm crazy because they just don't understand what I'm saying because I mix the words up in my head. How I cope with dyslexia is whenever I'm reading a passage, I take my time and I read it over a couple times to make sure I understand what's going on in the story and all that. And if it's like directions that someone's giving to me, if I don't understand, I will ask them to repeat themselves like 2 times maybe to make sure I have it right. Because if I don't have it right, I will get them mixed up and I will switch the words around and I'll be doing the wrong thing. It's so much easier for me to understand. And another thing I do is I use note cards. I use a lot of note cards, especially when it comes to finals or testing or even vocabulary tests. And note cards are usually my best tool. Advice that I have for parents that have dyslexia children is I say whenever they're getting ready for a test, sit down with them and study with them. Make flashcards with them. Make the flashcards for them so they don't get confused and study the wrong things. Whenever they're reading a passage story, sit down with them and read the passage with them to make sure they understand it also. Because it honestly does help. And even if a dyslexia student does read a passage over and over again, there are some things that will repeat and when it's wrong. And we'll keep repeating it even though it is wrong. And I've done that a couple of times, and my mom would always have to sit down like, no, it's not what it says. Read it again. And I would read it again, and it would be the same. I would say it again wrong, and she would have to read it out loud for me. So I have to say, parents, sit down with your children and actually study with them, actually read with them, and everything.